How can a woman with 6 children be ostracized, abandoned by her own, to carry me to Nsukka to take an oath? The little we had, way to take even the company. Yes, my husband was in mortuary for 12 calendar months, and I was locked up on the twin babies in homicide. No food, no nothing. I was alone in the world. It was so deadly.
Welcome to Breaking the Silence, the podcast that gives a platform to those whose stories too often go unheard. Here, we shine a light on the lived experiences of individuals, especially women and young people who have endured the unimaginable. Step into the world of survivors and victims of gender-based violence and human rights abuses as we bring their powerful voices to the forefront. But these aren't just stories of suffering or tales of woes. They are inspiring accounts of courage, resilience, and the unyielding human spirit. Each episode, we uncover how survivors reclaim their narratives and transform pain into purpose, refusing to let adversity define them. We invite you to join us in seeking justice and sparking change where it is needed. Together, let's break the silence and champion the cause of dignity and hope. I am your host, Professor Joy Ngozi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and former United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Trafficking and a passionate human rights defender. Together, it takes a community to break the silence, not just the victim or survivor. Break the silence now. Welcome to Breaking the Silence podcast. Here we give hope and succor to victims of gender-based violence and human rights abuses. Today we will journey with Mrs. Helen Eze, who saw it all when her husband died. She was accused of killing him. She was asked to swear an oath in order to prove her innocence. Her husband's property and the property they had during the marriage were taken. In that dark period, how did she find the strength to rise beyond her tears? What help can women, widows, receive when faced with harmful cultural practices? Let's listen to her.
My name is Mrs. Helen Chinyereze from Etiti in Enugu State. What I encountered when my husband died was so traumatic. Using the word trauma is an understatement because my story and what I went through cannot be compared with any other person. It was so deadly. I was like so frustrated to the extent of being jacked to homicide between babies, accounts blocked. I was ostracized by my entire community, was abandoned. I was alone in the world. I thought the end had come. Like being forced to take an oath, to carry me to Nsukka to take an oath, and all rubbish that I shouldn't come back to the house again. The intention was to indirectly take away the house that took me and my husband 10 good years to build. And then, of course, all our efforts, the little we had, they made sure that they come all the way to take even the company. Yes. And as a result of that, my husband was in mortuary for 12 calendar months, and I was locked up on the twin babies in homicide for 4 calendar months. No food, no nothing. Speaking today on this can only be the finger of God in action. I wouldn't want to go through this route again, narrating this story, because it's devastating. The action I took was to seek for help. And on this, I was linked up to WACOL group by one of my uncle, he's late now, and another woman from Ministry of Justice, and I'm still looking for that woman to appreciate her. I couldn't see her again after the link with WACOL group. So WACOL Group, which is called the Women AIDS Collective, under the chairperson of the then barrister Mrs. Joy Isilo, I call her a lioness. And they sprang into action. And when they came in, it was divinely. And their divine intervention gave me the inner strength with which I ran. Their counseling, their fight to liberate us from the dungeon. I mean, I had to cue into the strength I saw. And a woman like me moving without being afraid of being killed or being molested in any form. I told myself it's not time for me to go sleeping. And since God had actually provided this group for me, I joined forces with them. And I thank God because their presence made a whole lot of difference. And that's why a woman like me could stand today to testify. The challenges I faced was equally something that one could not even express with ordinary words. It would have been better seen than told. How can a woman with 6 children be ostracized, abandoned by her own, accused of killing the husband? A lot of nonsense. There's nothing evil I did not hear from these ears. They even went as far as saying that my children were imported, and where do I start? Is a story I would not like to account, frozen, and the like. The help I received was that with the presence of WACOL Group, there was this big knowledge, there was this impartation that there is need for me not to sit down and cry, but to stand on my feet and fight. And with the legal knowledge I have, and that of a joint force, I decided to fight all back with them. Their presence, like I said, made the whole lot of the breakthroughs that I had. For instance, the 6 children that God gave me were all educated, and I did not go sitting waiting because I was frustrated and ostracized. The outcome was that there was this light of hope, that these children that would have been, who knows, hooligans and the like, were channeled into education. And these 6 children, with the help WACOL Group gave, God was able to push us through, and they're all graduates today in different disciplines. Now I can say I have a lawyer in the house, I have a chartered accountant, I have a doctor, computer science, and mention it, they're all in their different destinations. And in the schools, I least expected they could attend, but God made it possible to His own glory. And where I'm living in Lagos today is my own personal house. I'm no more a tenant. And I thank God it's all through the inspiration I drew from WACOL Group's presence in my life and God's divine intervention.
Welcome back. You've had firsthand from Mrs. Helen Eze. She has narrated then her tales of woes. You can see, you heard from what she went through. No woman need to go through this type of widowhood rights. It's wicked rights that people will want to dispossess you. That she spent 4 good months before this case came to our attention. And when it did, that was when WACOL swung into action. That we had to petition then Commissioner of Police, met the Commissioner of Police in Enugu State, insisted that she wasn't going to swear any oath, and that they ought not to have detained her for 4 months with her twin babies, despite the trauma she went through in Lagos, where the husband died. Because if I recall the party, they were even preparing to celebrate 1-year birthday of the twins. And the man went out, whether it was a robbery or hired assassin, but what happened that he was even coming home for that joyful occasion when he was killed. And this was a man that was doing well, living happily with the family and the 6 children. The twins made the 6 children. And then only for people to come from all the way family relations, including those that never saw the man, a couple of years even before he died. So we need to look at what is really the legal perspective of this. Because sometimes one of them claimed also that he was mentioned as next of kin. And some others, they have all sorts of claims. When someone died and that dies and they are fighting for estate, diseased estate, you hear a lot of stories. That's why WACOL actually had this book we call The Nest of Kin Palaver. And the Nest of Kin Palaver try to explain what next of kin means. Even though that doesn't mean you are the one beneficiary who will inherit everything. Yes, you step into the shoes of the deceased person and take over administration of the estate. When they do this forcefully, it hurts the family and the children. So when you're doing next of kin, you have to choose wisely. Because some of them think they are the legal beneficiary, but they are rather trustees. And to hold in trust for the family, and they had a legal marriage. So if you look at what she went through and violations of her right, that incarceration, that detention for 4 months was an unlawful detention because it was based on accusation, baseless accusation, that she had a hand in the death of the husband. Because they wanted to make it a criminal matter in order for police to swing into action. So they went and reported that this is a woman living with a husband in Lagos, and deceived her into coming, and she thought she was coming for burial, and they arrested her, and she was kept with her twin babies in detention for 4 good months. That's an unlawful detention, denial of her liberty for that length of time. She suffered torture, both mental, physically. So just imagine the detention facility and having to cope with two babies within that. So the cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment they meted out to her is a breach of her fundamental human rights as recognized in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have laws in this country, and people's basic right to privacy, right to family, freedom from discrimination, freedom from torture, inhuman and degrading treatment, movement, they all have to be respected. Dignity of person. Because in all of this, they just debased her. They took away her dignity, self-esteem. And she became a shadow of herself. And it was at that time, thank God, that we also had a good commissioner of police who just said, no. When she didn't hear, he said he didn't know this case and this was happening. And she was released. Then we started to plan the burial of the husband. And during the burial, in fact, and we put a stop to the issue of further swearing of oath. So WACOL gave her the support, both legal, psychosocial, and being present at the burial, with also security personnel to make sure that there is no funny, that people don't visit it. In fact, because we were even afraid that, but as soon as they lowered the man in the grave, a lot of people started again. Trouble started, and before you know it, the whole place also, she had to be evacuated. And from there, she left her village and couldn't come back there for years. And people tried to invade her property. But we thank God that this denial, because her property, she was lawfully married under the act, so she had a right to the deceased husband estate with the children. And she had both male and female children. So there is no grounds for anybody to claim, even customarily, even though we know with the decision on inheritance right, there is not even any ground, even if she had only girl children. It shouldn't be a ground. Or that the fact that a brother-in-law was named as next of kin, it is not tantamount to the person coming to claim all of property. And that's part of why the homicide, the horrible conditions, the action taken by WACOL, because WACOL is out there to bring succor to the vulnerable, to give voice to the voiceless, to ensure that justice is done. It was just because of her state and that she has a lot of young children, we wanted to further take the parties that brought all of these sufferings on her to court. But being that she had to go back to Lagos, the commuting and everything wasn't what, and psychologically, she was already so traumatized that she needed time and space, to recover. Today, we are really happy that that's really she has come of age. So when we advise people, including Nigeria, please make your will. This is part of what WACO publishes, what we call legal literacy series, and it's to educate the public about will making sure yours and her children get their fair share is very important. It's not in some parts of Nigeria when you talk to people about will making, they think you're wishing them there. Please, it's not like that. A woman can make a will, a man can make a will. It's always good to do because that will spell it out in black and white and nobody. And for you, men who also will, maybe before they got married, they will put their brother, put their siblings, and they forget. They will not remember to change that after they've had their own children. And then someone, your brother, your nephew will come and claim that they are the next of kin and they are the ones mentioned. In some employment, they will require you to put next of kin. So please do the right thing. For the widows out there, be strong and be ready to fight for your right. I praise Helen because she very strong. She stood her ground. They tried to break her, did everything. She was devastated, yes, for two things, loss of her husband and then having to go through the devastating conditions of detention and all of it. But she survived. She was determined to survive and to raise her children. And you can see how all of them have come of age. You can see how they have, she has survived her victimization and now an inspiration to other widows to take action. And that's why we say it is beyond the tears. Even we tell women, beyond the tears, please also don't cry to the point that you will forget yourself and your children and those that needed to be protected. We'll be right back. I want to say, as a man, woman, or family member, you have no business trying to take over your late brothers or whatever property under the guise that you're a family member and the wife and children doesn't deserve anything, or you are a next of kin. As a community also, you don't have right to banish a woman from her matrimonial home, her husband's home. You have no right to do that. If you have a case against her, please go to court. Follow the due process. And for you, if you are in doubt about what next of kin means, or if you are in doubt about your right to inheritance, if you are in doubt about what you should do as a widow to protect yourself and your children, and to also not allow anybody to force you into harmful widowhood practices, you can come to WACOL for advice. Follow WACOL and Tamasak on all social media platforms. Remember this book, Next of Kin Palava, Had I Known, is very important because there is a confusion about who is next of kin. Is he a legal beneficiary or a trustee? You will find all that out. To support our work with widows and other vulnerable groups, please make your voluntary contribution using the account details on your screen. Help us to support those who are in difficult
circumstances and who need us in order to assess justice, in order to fight for their right. Be in solidarity through your valuable support. I am Professor Joy Ngozi Ezilo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and I'm your host, Breaking the Silence.